of the Pristine Baptist Church. She is also the CEO and founder of Traveling Mercies, which is a travel agent company. She is also the founder of several women's ministries, but I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to let her do her thing. None other, Minister Regina Ailes.
Good morning to everyone. It's good to see everybody's smiling faces and just to hear the beginning talks in the chat and also online just before we started about what we didn't necessarily expect, but what it has grown into 58 weeks later. 58 weeks later. And so this is going to be a brief message, but one that I believe is really important. We talked about self-care and, of course, the quality of life, and you bring so much to the table, each and every person that is here and involved in so many things to bring services to the people. So I want to just read one verse of scripture, and that verse comes from the book of Galatians. It's Galatians 6, verse 9. And it says, "And don't grow weary while doing good, for in due season you will reap if you don't faint." And for a title, I like to use "Time Marches On." Time marches on. In this particular verse, I find at least two types or categories of time. One is the duration of time, which is the measurement of time or the length of time. We just talked about 58 weeks, right? And then the other is a fraction of time, a segment or a portion of time. Sometimes it's just even a moment. And these words, "and don't grow weary while doing good, for you will reap in due season if you faint not," has a lot to do with time and what we do with it. The phrase "time marches on" simply, in the simplest form, means that time continues to pass. Time is not something you can get back, and it's not something that stops. And for many of us in our vocations, our occupations, and even our geographic locations and our existential realities, time has and will continue to unfold ups and downs, hits and misses, victories and defeats. As it pertains to the sanctity of life, and even someone just mentioned, I believe that Freddie just mentioned the quality of life and how we meet the needs of those lives. And you know, one can grow weary as time marches on. Lifeline, as this gathering is so appropriately called, was thought to only last a fraction of time when the epidemic started. It was thought to only last for just a little while when we had to make that transition from actually going into the office and being able to see each other and running to and fro to all the meetings, to coming in on Zoom. Someone mentioned learning all of the things on Zoom by coming in on these meetings. And then we just started to come together. And even though it seemed to be that it was only going to be just for a season, it is existing for the long run, for a duration of time. Customized to bring together the faith community and human services and human mental health providers to contemplate the issues of the day, it morphed into a place of unity for a common cause among people with a purpose, sharing information and inviting other like-minded individuals to the table to support each other as they go about providing essential care. But why do we do it? Why do we care in a world that sometimes seems to care less? I like to propose that as time marches on, we march on in hope. You see, time itself is out of our control, but time is in our control as far as what we do with it. We do have control of what we do with our time, even though time will continue to march on. Experiencing ups and downs, mountains and valleys, one can grow weary and ultimately lose hope. Lose hope that you're ever going to make a real difference. or a dent in your workload of all the people that you need to meet. And during the pandemic, some of those people weren't coming in for services. And because you have a heart for people, you're wondering what's happening to all of those people during this time. Lose hope that you're going to make a real difference, and lose hope that we'll ever reach the people that we really need to reach. And lose hope that in our time, we will live in a world that's not divided, but living in harmony. I'm here to remind you today that hope can get us through our frown days. Hope turns that frown upside down to the beat of a new drum, because time marches on. And you know what? So do we. In due season, a time yet to be determined, we will reap, we will see the fruit of our labor. If we faint not, which simply means if we don't give up. The message is for all the worker bees on the lifeline today. But if you are just doing a job, this may not be for you. This message may not be for you. But if you are fulfilling a purpose, if you are getting into your line of work because you love people and want to see them made whole, it is my hope that the Lifeline family wants that for you too. Some of you have heard the acronym PUSH. We use that to say, pray until something happens. Well, I'd like to change it up a little bit and put an H there for that first letter and say hush. Can everybody say hush for me?
Hush.
And hush means hope until something happens. Okay? Hope will make you pray. You can't pray unless you have hope, because you're not going to be expecting anything, right? But hush, hope until something happens. Don't grow weary and don't give up. Because carry on as time marches on. When you feel yourself getting weary, hope. Hope until something happens. And it will in due season. Jesse Jackson had an encouraging one-liner to keep hope alive. Hope matters. You are making a difference, each and every one of you. Your work is not in vain. And though things may not be as good as they should be, they're not as bad as they could be. We're on Lifeline, but for some of the issues that we face, it will take a lifetime of dedication, commitment, and work to accomplish the goals, the mission, and the vision that God has placed in us. Time marches on. And if time doesn't stand still, neither should we. Don't give up. Don't faint. Don't grow weary. Let hope be your friend and God be the source of your strength. Hope doesn't always take us from A to Z, but it can take us from A to B. And whether your assignment is foster care or healthcare, child development or community development, whether you are an advocate for mental health or financial health, social services or social justice, stay the course, steady as she goes. I'd like to read an excerpt from the inaugural poet Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb. And it reads, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption we feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. And Lifeline, don't grow weary while doing good, for you will reap in due season if you do not faint, if you do not give up. I don't know about you, but I am ready for a due season, aren't you? I am ready for a new season, and I'm not going to give up doing good. So I want to encourage you today to don't give up. And we know that sometimes the road gets weary, the work gets weary, the world around us impacts what we're doing, and we don't even think we're making a dent. But if you're doing good, in due season, you will reap. Not you personally, but all that you have done to impact the world. And so make Lifeline more than a day on the calendar, which I heard this morning that people are not making it just a day on the calendar, that this is a true lifeline. It started as a lifeline for all of those we serve. But I wanted, and I think all of us want it to be a lifeline for us, to help us when we start to grow weary, to help us when we think that our doing good is not being heard and not being seen. Don't get weary. Don't give up. Your season is coming. Thank you.
All right. Amen, Minister Ailes. I heard words of encouragement. I heard words of hope. I guess now you all have gotten a glimpse of why I married this woman. I'm almost tempted to end our session right now and go on in here and get some more of this encouragement from my life. But Rod, I will hold that until later on tonight, honey, because beautiful are the feet of that person who preached the word, and that's the gospel right there. Rod, I'll pass it over to you.
All right, awesome job, Minister Ailes. Great word, and it just reminds me of so many things, with the hope message, and so thank you for that. All right, we're going to move on over to our next speaker. And he just happened to hit me up recently and say, I want to move into a different role. Normally, he's giving us updates. Hey, this is the sheriff's office. This is what we have going on. But this day, he said he had a message for us. So I don't know what that message is. And, he's everybody's friend. He's our buddy, Corporal Brian Banner from Pasco Sheriff's Office. Make sure I don't say Pasco County Sheriff's Office, Pasco Sheriff's Office. And he is the community liaison. So, Corporal Banner, you're up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Wow.
Good morning. Good morning, Corporal. Blessings, man. How you doing?
God bless Dr. Ailes. God bless you, sir. God bless you. Always a pleasure to see you. And I see your behalf now. I've never met her, but I see where you get it from.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Yeah, such a privilege to be on a call, personally and professionally. Probably more personal than professional, but it definitely one bleeds into the other, right? Who we are personally affects who we are professionally, and vice versa. So we had a call last week, and my heart was touched. I dialed on and just listening to what was going on in the community, referencing the shooting of that 16-year-old and the opinions that were and persons on the call just expressing how they feel. It really touched me. And so it bled over into a conversation I had on Friday. And, there's a saying that says iron sharpeneth iron, and that process is not a good one. It's not a pleasurable one, right? Two pieces of metal rubbing together, sharpening each other. It's not pleasurable, but it's what we need, right? Because if someone cares, they're going to tell you some things you might not want to hear. And so I was encouraged to do this morning to get on and kind of give my message of hope or my presentation. And so I wasn't planning to do this till June. And I reached out to Rod yesterday, and he says he has nobody for today. And I'm like, man, I'll put together what I have and I'll do it. But the conversation on Friday kind of mirrored what Minister Ailes, Regina Ailes, spoke about, and it dealt with hope, and she talked about I wrote some notes here. She's a beacon of light as she was speaking, just, in darkness in this world and life. Just her message was one of hope. And I thought about a light tower as she was speaking, just guiding those ships home, avoiding those rocks, those jagged edges out there. And I was blessed by that. She asked questions like, well, why do we do it? We have control of what we do with our time. She referenced losing hope. Can't pray unless you have hope, not to give up, don't grow weary. And ended with that poem. An excerpt from it, we will not march back to what was, but forward to what is. Just words that really resounded with me. But the conversation from last Friday, flushed out of that was just sometimes we can feel despair or hopeless, right? And barren and broken. And you can't talk to a person today who isn't going through something. We all are collectively and individually. Little share of hell, of just the vicissitudes and the ups and downs of life. We all bear them, and so at times life can seem hopeless. But as I spoke to this individual last week, something just kind of leapt in my spirit, and what that was that, in order for us to have what we want, right, the good that we would desire out of life. So we look out the window, we see some things happening that we don't like, and it's burdensome. It affects our mental health, our emotional well-being. It affects us spiritually, financially, just in every way. And that by itself is terrible, right? Not a place that we want to be in, not something that we want to contend with for any extended period of time. But as we were talking, it dawned on me that that out of that, or from that platform, from that place of barrenness, is where we're restored. It's where hope lies. So in order for us to have any sense of order, there has to be chaos. There has to be disorder. There has to be its direct opposite. And that might not seem like a blessing. It might not seem like an advantageous position from which to work. It might not seem like the ideal place to start where we are currently with our issues and with our brokenness. But it is contrary to it's counterintuitive, but it is the best place to start. I'm by no measure a preacher, but draw reference to the beginning, to Genesis, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and there was nothing. And out of that nothingness, out of that brokenness, out of for us, trauma, mental illness, barrenness, all the things that we would not desire, out of nothing, the Word said that God spoke. He spoke, and the first thing he said was, let there be what? Let there be light. Right? And well, what's the significance of that? Right? The absence of what I don't have, the brokenness that I have, right? The barrenness, the hurt that I have is exactly what I need to create what I don't have. So he said, let there be light. There would be no commandment to call light if there was not what? If there wasn't darkness. So as much as you, me, we may be wrestling with our own share of darkness and brokenness and barrenness and hurt and despair. And I'm an emotional guy. As much as we may be contending with that, pardon me a minute, it is exactly what we need. So where you are, as much as it may seem as if it's not where you want to be, right? I'll leave this with you. This other one here. So not a preacher by any stretch, and I don't know, varying faiths on the call, but there is a story of a prophet in a valley. And he is in this valley of dried bones, which is representative of death and just barrenness. That's where he finds himself in this passage of scripture in the Bible, Ezekiel, in a valley of dried bones, and that's where he works from. So what do you do with the valley of dry bones? What do you have there? You have nothing, which is exactly what is needed to have everything, right? So the nothingness, the barrenness becomes the catalyst, the platform on which we move forward. Does that make sense, right? So just my word of encouragement from my heart to yours, and whoever is listening and whoever's in your circle, wherever you'll take this, one thing we have in common is problems, right? But I am 110% convinced, evidenced by the word, that in that problem, a thorough analysis of that problem is the answer. You cannot have an answer if you don't first have a problem. So as much as I may not want to entangle with my problem, right? It is exactly that gives birth to my solution. As much as I'm not comfortable in the dark, I can't be healed if I'm not sick. So as terrible as it may be to be sick, my health is bounded and grounded in my illness, right? And so, that leaves everyone absent of an excuse. We have no excuse, right? Because, well, why can't I make an excuse? Because I have a problem. We all have issues. So you can take that. You can take that issue. You can take that problem. You take that everything. All things work together for good to them that love God. And there aren't many platforms on which I could be wearing a uniform and say that, or many circles and have these conversations. Even for a reason why I'm grateful for this platform here. But all things work together for good. Even the things that I might not want, they're for your good. It's counterintuitive. I know it because it leads you into the place where you least want to go. It causes you to confront what you least want to confront. But I can't call. You can't call. We can't call light out of light. You don't call light out of light. You call light out of darkness. And so in our brokenness, in our destitution, in what we perceive to be our barrenness,
go ahead. It's all right.
it's heavy, man.
Take your time. Take your time.
In our brokenness, in our barrenness, is everything we need.
I understand.
Amen.
Amen. Corporal Banner, although you've been saying through your message that you're by no means a preacher, but you preached all day today, and your message will preach all day and all night. You are welcome to Pristine Baptist Church to come and preach that message on Sunday and on Monday and on Tuesday. You are so right. You can't call light out of light. Boy, he was hitting it all, and I'm reaching. If this is anything real that I'm saying, brother, I am reaching through these this lifeline now, virtually, embracing you, brother, with a physical.
I guess I was just thinking as he was communicating, I guess I started writing, and I was thinking about emptiness and how God feels emptiness. And then the beginning, you mentioned the beginning and the creation. And I was thinking about how the Spirit, once he created, then the Spirit moved over the face of the earth. And I was thinking how that the Spirit inhabits these earthen vessels and how God fills everything. It made me think of Jesus turning water to wine. He takes this element that, and then he always makes it better. but it starts from nothing. We're nothing. And he makes us into something by filling us. And, it's just interesting how everything from chaos, if there's, from chaos and from nothingness, then all things actually become into being when they encounter God and his spirit. So God is at work. God is at work in our world. And, it was just beautiful. I really think that every time I listen to him, he's very thoughtful. He's very thoughtful and real deep in his thinking. And, we have to go through something in order to get to where we want to be and where we need to be. And so therefore it always comes out of the chaos. It's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Corporal Banner.
Yes, great job, Corporal Banner. I wish you would have told me what it was about. I would have put you in a different slot. I would have made you put you in the preacher slot because you definitely brought the word to us. So thank you for that. And I'm reminded when you talked about light and darkness, if you go out into an open field at midnight and it's just pitch black, right? You won't be able to find your way out, but you can take something as small as a flicker or a lighter, right? With all of that darkness, one little lighter can actually help you find your way out of that dark field.
Amen.
We as leaders on this call and leaders in organizations, when we find our staff, our people, our clients, our community in a dark space, that means they're running around a dark room, right? There's chaos and everything is dark. But we as leaders, we walk in and we hit the light switch. And we say, oh, this is what you should do. Have you tried this? Did you think about that? Now, all of a sudden, we're bringing this light and we're helping people see the light and have a brighter day. I'm also reminded that my granddaughter was over the other day, and she's 12. And I said to her, if you're in my house and I wake up angry, can I affect your teacher in your classroom? And she said, well, yes, you can, Grandpa. I said, well, how's that? She said, if you wake up angry and then you pick on me or you start yelling at me, I will now go to school and not pay attention. I'll feel like I'm, being yelled at and I shouldn't have been. And now I'm not paying attention. Now the teacher's getting on me and now I'm frustrated. I talk back to her. Now it's affecting the entire classroom because Papa woke up angry. It's almost like a virus or a pandemic, how fast that spreads. So light spreads just as fast as darkness. So thank you, Corporal Banner. Dr. Elf.
Thank you so much, Rod. I just wanted to just comment and just say that I thank God for the lifeline, and especially for today, because it was like we got a double scoop of the word. So and it was all relative. In the encouragement, and one of the things that Minister L said, that sometimes it may take a lifetime on the lifeline. This is not a sprint, but a marathon. And with Corporal Banner coming behind her, feeling his ethos and his pathos. The first thing he started out with the tragedy of that young girl getting killed, and it seems like something that's happening every day. And he's coming from he's coming from an officer's perspective, sheriff's perspective. And I felt his ethos and his pathos. Now, and what he is telling us and about how out of this chaos, if we continue on with the encouragement and continue on the lifeline, light. And then I got that we all are lights. When we go into this chaos, we on this lifeline, after we leave here on a Thursday morning, then we go out into the darkness as miniature lights. Some of us are flames. Sometimes we just might be like a little flicker, like what Rod was talking about, that little flicker. But even just a little flicker, it could illuminate the way, in dark spaces. So no, I really thank God for the message and the messengers this morning. All right, I want to open it up for questions, concerns, responses to the current events, responses to any of the presenters today. The floor is open.
I'll start for Corporal Banner. I think, what we needed today was a heart message, and this wasn't a moment for the badge or for the position. We needed to hear your heart, and we did. And I think it is important that you shared in the way that you did, because it humanizes the people who wear the badge. And I don't think anyone will be able to leave today's Lifeline thinking that all law enforcement are anything, because you showed that just like Black people, white people, Latino are not a monolith, law enforcement isn't a monolith. There are people behind the badge, behind the uniform. And I don't know about anybody else, but I know for me, I needed that message today. And thank you so much.
Yes, Natasha. And thank you for your response. And thank you for the light that you are. And I wanted to tell you that personally. The students at PHSC is waiting to meet you. I've talked you up, and so hopefully you can join us this Monday morning. Any other? Come on, superstars, lights. Do you have any other response? Come on, your light. Let your light so shine.
Hey, Pastor Ailes, one of the things that remind me with Corporal Banner, and of course my wife being retired law enforcement officer and all her friends, is empathy should go both ways, and I don't see that from either party. I mean, there are some African American police officers who lost their lives during that riot, and nobody give a damn, right? It's only the life only matters if you're a Democratic Black veteran, or Democratic Black somebody. So I think what we're lacking is that we need empathy and understanding on both sides and not just one side. That's all I see right now. One side, my way or you're wrong. So Corporal Banner, I appreciate what you're going through. I understand it. It looks like the media is just saying that the police are the enemy and the Blacks, and that's just not true. So I appreciate you doing it, and you got my support.
Tony, yeah, ain't nothing but the truth. You always encouragement and know what to say. And when to say it. You're absolutely right. I wish it wasn't, I wish there was not a thing where it's, I'm right and you're wrong. It's my side and your side, all of this, just splitting people up and things like that, just causing the ruckus. But through it, I'm looking for the hope that's going to come out of it. Anyone else?
Well, Dr. Ailes, after today, I think we should all be encouraged, because we were just given an example of how light was created from darkness. If America isn't dark right now, if race relations isn't dark, if the relationship between law enforcement and civilians isn't dark, I don't know what darkness is. And so we have no more excuses, as we were just told. So it's on us. The onus is on us to begin to be the light and to create the light exactly where we are. I'm not saying I'm creating light for all of Tampa Bay, but in my Hillsborough area, I can start to create the light, and we can all do that if we're all taking the responsibility. And it doesn't mean we're 100% better today, but what does 5% look like? If we were supposed to be today 5% more light, how does that look? And if we were all 5%, just everyone that's on this call, then how much brighter is our county? If we pause before we speak to someone who is Black or white or Latino or a law enforcement, if we just pause and consider how we can be light and bring light to that moment, now we're brighter. We have no excuse. We were just told, and I don't know if there's an attorney on the line, but we've got witnesses. So we can no longer say past this point, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to make change. We were just told. And Minister Ailes told us about hope. We got to hope. Hush. Hope. That's it. Hope means that tomorrow, that in the next hour, that in the next 3 hours, I'm just going to hope that things will be better, that relations will be better, that work will be better, that my family will be better, that my health will be better. People die when they lose hope. People behave and function like misfits when they lose hope. So as long as we can keep our hope fueled and remember that we have no excuse, that we are the change that we are asking for and wanting. It's not going to come from top down. We're not looking for another community leader. I think, if I'm clear, this is the faith and community leader lifeline. So that's us. We're the change we want to see. So we should be more hopeful after today's lifeline. Thank you.
I see now we have a Rod.
Yes, sir.
I see right now we have the next lineup of preachers already. I'm talking about Natasha, going to have to bring her back with a word on the message. We have to bring Corporate Banner back on the word on the message time, and all of these other preachers that we have on the line. And we have some responses also in the chat. You want to cover that for us, Ron?
Let's see here. Okay, so Lisa Smith says, my experience is that light and positivity are infectious and contagious, just like darkness and negativity. We have a choice. Corporate Banner says, thank you all. I am who I am because you are who you are. Be blessed. So, Miss Elizabeth said, we are the light. Miss Lisa said that to Natasha, what did she say here? Well said, Natasha. Let's see here. Tony Williams said, cruises is what motivated my wife and I to get vaccinated. Laugh out loud. Okay, so he is now vaccinated or getting vaccinated.
All right.
Whatever the reason, just be vaccinated, right? Okay, a female African-American veteran won her commissioner race in Polk County. Of course, racism is rearing its ugly head. So sounds like the haters are coming out once an African-American has been elected. Let's see here. Corporal Banner, Mark Thompson said, Corporal Banner, thank you for your transparency and for the power of your words today. It was a blessing. All right. So back to you, Dr. Ailes.
Thank you so much. And I think you got a couple more. Yes, Alyssa, she is the most positive person in our office. Beautiful meeting this morning. Put a big smile on my face. Stay positive in your area of the world. All right, Douglas Walker, I see your hand up.
Yes.
When we talk about hope, hope and action go together, right? So we don't just hope. We hope and act, right? Our hope actually motivates our action, right? And Natasha asked a question that I think is key, and we might have missed it because she said, just 5%, right? If we're just 5% light, but then the question was, what does that look like, right? What does it actually look like to be 5%? So I don't know, right? I don't know what 5% light might look like. But what I do know is that 5% difference from what we are now means we can't be what we are now, right? So in other words, something has to tangibly change, right? We can't simply stay the same and say that we're hoping, right? There's got to be some change. And I really appreciate what Corporal Banner said, because sometimes that change might not be what you like or what you want personally, right? So what does it look like? I think that's an important introspective question that each of us has to ask. But the reality is that whatever the answer is it can't be the same of what we are now.
Well, Pastor Walker, 5%, that's huge. That can change your life as well as your children's lives by being positive and being the light, just at the level of 5%. If I am flying on an airplane from Tampa to California and I'm all 5%, I'll end up in Alaska. So 5%, that's a whole lot. So if we can just continue to shine our light, ladies and gentlemen, every day recognize that whenever you open your mouth, it's like you're passing a virus. You just have to figure out if that's the light virus or the dark virus. So pass the light, and it will affect a whole lot of people that day. Thank you.
That 10%, that 5%. Reminds me of a song, 10% of something. Y'all remember that song? 10% of something is more than it can be 100% of nothing at all. Y'all remember that song?
No, but
I'll probably hate myself.
Pastor
Tom, you solo on that one, brother.
Sorry to leave you out there, Dr. Ailes, but Minister Thompson had his hand up, sir, and then we have Pastor Walker. We have Dr. Bond. Pastor Walker already spoke.
Sure.
I just want to tell everybody this is my second meeting, and I'm changed. And I just think the speakers like Natasha last week when she asked that question about love, today when Minister Els preached on hope, and Corporal Banner, he messed me up last week and this week, but my heart has changed for the better. And I say that because at the height of the pandemic, when George Floyd was killed, I wrote a poem, and the poem wasn't in favor of, officers around the country. But, I got the opportunity to speak last week in church, and Corporal Banner touched my heart in a profound way last week and today. And Natasha's question about love inspired me, and it made me search myself and my heart, as a person, in spite of the things that I saw, on television that happened to George Floyd. And then, Minister Els messed me all up. She said, don't become weary. So God is an amazing being. And I'm just happy that I have him at the center of my life. But I just say to everybody on this session, let's continue to be a lifeline for people, because two sessions and I'm changed. My whole perspective is changed when it comes to law enforcement. I see them in a totally different way. They're human just like me. So that's why I really thank, Corporal Banner today for his transparency, because I saw love in his heart last week And I saw love enlighten his heart today, and I thank him for that. And everybody who spoke today.
Dr. Bond?
I'll be brief. I can't really top that. Mark, thank you for joining us here from New York. And it's what we've had guests from a number of places. And what you just said there, Mark, is honestly, that makes this whole thing worth the effort. Even for me, from an academic and a qualitative perspective, that's the reason why we put this thing together. So thank you for being here. I just want to say thank you to Corporal Banner, Minister Ailes, and Natasha. Thank you for all that you're doing as a county president for NAMI, and also for being an ambassador and helping with the outreach to the USF students that came to you last year. So thank you for doing that. That's all I got. Thank you, everybody.
Dr. Ailes?
Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes wrote that song, y'all. This has been a blessed session. You all, thank you once again. If there is nothing at all, it is 10 a.m. Are there any announcements before we have the benediction?
Yes. All of the NAMIs are going to have events all month long. Rod is going to be one of the speakers during what we're calling our lunchtime chat series. All of May is Military Appreciation Month, and the second week in May we're devoting completely to veterans. So we've got Rod, I've got two women Army veterans, I've got representatives from the Buffalo Soldiers, and there's a lot of events that we're going to be doing. I'll be passing them on. Now that I can see Imam, I need a pastor, and Imam, I'm putting you on the spot, but on the 6th, which I think is Thursday, is the National Day of Prayer. And I would love to have representatives from all faith communities to join me at noon on that day for prayer. And so, Imam, you're here, so I'm seeing you.
You got Rabbi, and you have Rabbi
and
Ron.
I see Ron, yes, Rabbi Ron, please. I would love it because I think it's an opportunity for us to, faith has forever been a solace for people who are experiencing mental health and substance use challenges. And from a NAMI perspective, we want to ensure that we incorporate faith as a recovery pathway. So I'll put my info in the chat, and I'll look for the schedule on our Facebook page, website, new website launching tomorrow, or actually the 1st. So it's been a lot, and Kathy, I'll be in touch with you today. And thank you.
And remember, guys, if you I didn't get her information or anything like that, you can come through me. I pretty much know how to reach almost everybody on the call.
Yes, Bonnie. And the lyrics to the song, she put it in the chat. That's it. I love it.
Dr. Ailes, I have one announcement. This is Joe Smith. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to let everyone know that we are offering a trauma-informed communities course. It's coming up June 2nd. We're in partnership with Hillsborough County State Attorney, the U.S. Attorney, and the collaboration over at the Public Safety Innovation over at St. Petersburg College. It's no cost, obviously, and we have partnership with our resources locally. Dr. Walker will be participating along with Dr. Bond, and I'm trying to think who else from this, but we have a dynamic lineup. It's only a couple hours. It will be a virtual event, and I placed the announcement flyer in the chat this morning. I was having a little difficulty with that. But it falls right in line with the mission of this Lifeline and the things that we're doing out in the community. And I thank God for the opportunity to be with these flamethrowers here right away. So thank you.
No, thank you, Brother Joe. You are.
And Dr. Ailes, the lead singer for was Harold Melvin. So you sound like
Yes,
Harold
sir.
Melvin.
Go ahead now.
I have two announcements.
Right. Yeah, come on.
One is that for the whole month, I've been providing weekly broadcasts on military sexual trauma, and tomorrow is going to end on. Those who are not aware of what's going on in the military community, the commission has just recommended that the prosecution decision gets removed from the military and put in an independent counsel. Well, I have tonight. I have a Air Force colonel who was an actual chief prosecutor for the Air Force for about 4 years. He'll be on tomorrow night to talk about that. And then for the month of May, we're going to have a special memorial for families and veterans who lost a veteran to suicide on the 22nd of May. The mayor, Castor, has said that she'll be there, and a councilman from Luis Vieta from Tampa, North Tampa, New Tampa is going to be there. So everybody know that, get the word out. And again, since I am part of this, you can communicate with me, Natasha, and everybody out there. I know we're very tribal. That's why I have to be there all the time. We're very tribal. And we tend to sit there and just, do a speed dial on everybody who's on our speed dial. But there are a lot of us out there. So I'm just letting you guys know that if you want to know anything about the veterans and vice versa. Thank you very much.
And also real quick, we lost Freddie Barton. He had to get off the phone, get off the line. But if you need to contact him, I think he put his information in the chat. But you can also get it through myself as well. So just reach out to me if you want to volunteer. What I was trying to get to was that his organization is supported through the city government. So he has direct access to the state attorney, to the mayor, to the chief of police, to the sheriff, all the sheriffs in the area. His program is very high profile, and they're all a part of it. And he's actually able to change laws as well by working through them. So if you're interested in getting involved in the youth and the laws and so on and so forth, his organization would be a great place to be able to get to the people who are the decision makers. All right, Dr. Ailes.
All right, we are 6 minutes past the hour. Just a couple of other maybe people I just want to recognize. Ronto, do we have any announcements? Mr. Eric Theodore, do we have any announcements? No? All right. Rabbi Becker, do you have any announcements? Imam Hussein, do you have any announcements?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing real quick. I don't have an announcement, but I want to announce what's in my head.
Amen.
Just real quick, Natasha, I'll be traveling to Michigan next Wednesday, so I'll be back by Thursday morning. So I will try my best to assist. The other thing is, I think we're at a stage in these lifelines where there's been a lot of good. But I think when we say terms like love, light, darkness, I think we have to be clear about what those terms are, because a lot of them are subjective to our own opinions and what we think they are. When we call each other, looking at each other as human beings, well, we didn't land up, as I say about Africa, we didn't land up Plymouth Rock landed on them. So the thing is, people didn't choose the lives they live today. So we don't really have much control over our life. And that's why I appreciate the positivity, but I just do think we should have some really taboo discussions about things. So at least when we say love, what is love? All right, what does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to be oppressed? All right, and I think when we talk about that, then we can actually move forward. So we get behind over the hype and emotion and more into like long-term change, right? Long-term relationships. Otherwise, I think we're going to be stuck on terms. And I know we have to be politically acceptable to everyone, but I just feel that I think we are at a point now we can go beyond the formality and have more formal discussions. I mean, more direct discussions about these taboo topics, and I think they need to be discussed.
And so, Imam, when you have those types of ideas, all you have to do is connect with me and tell me how much time you need, and I will put you on the calendar. I mean, you need 15 minutes, you need 20, you need 25. We can take out some things and move things around. We're always ready. So we're ready for the difficult conversations. So we don't shy away.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Kathy, do you have anything?
In honor of our youth and mental health, if we could all put green lights out on our light bulbs in our front homes, that would be wonderful to just stand up for our youth and mental health awareness.
Thank you. Rabbi, I saw you chime in. Did you have something, Rabbi?
No, nothing specific this week. Natasha, I'll be getting in touch with you shortly on about May 6th, and I'm happy to participate. Thank you.
Morning. I have an announcement.
Come on.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Good morning. I bring you greetings from the Department of Juvenile Justice, where our Assistant Secretary is Alice Sims, and just want to give you a few updates. We are still working with our Letter of Hope initiative, and we are still looking for partners to help us with our youth that are in residential centers and detention centers, and sending them letters to encourage them through this pandemic, and it's an ongoing initiative. So I will put my information in. We also have another initiative. We have a Angel Tree Book Drive. This is also to help the youth to be able to connect and continue learning while they're in the centers. Voices of Hope, I hear a lot of announcements. We're trying to find out what's going on throughout the state of Florida with our faith and community partners. And we welcome you to be a part of our newsletter so we can get out what you all are doing. As well as once a month, we have our Restoring Hope Community Network meeting. And this, our next meeting is going to be May the 27th. And we have Amy Bradbury, and she works with grants, and she's going to be doing grant trainings because there's money that's coming down from the pandemic, and we're trying to make sure our partners are ready. So I will put my name and email and information in the chat. Thank you.
Also, Ms. Enzalia, I know you're one of your leaders there in Tallahassee had spoken about veterans getting involved with the juvenile youth. How is that program going?
Absolutely. We are looking for more veterans to be a part. Matter of fact, our past assistant secretary, that was one of her leading goals. So we are definitely looking for some more activities to take place in that. So we welcome you in that area as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and count us in. Okay. All right. If all hearts and minds are clear, let us just have our benediction, and we can be on our way with our week. Father, we thank you, God, for what you allow all of our hearts to receive, our minds to receive and learn today. Thank you for the word. Thank you for all of the presenters. I pray, oh God, that you restore unto them 100-fold, poured out of their sum and their substance. Now bless us, oh God, as we leave this place, never your presence. And we be ever so careful to continue to give your name the praise, honor, and the glory. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Have a blessed week. Flamethrowers.
That concludes our time together today. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you again on next Thursday.